Embers of arrogance. In the heart of the galactic concord, orbiting the burning star of Vorthus Prime, the Senate chamber gleamed with polished crystal and radiant light. It was said to be the most civilized place in the known universe, a hall where logic triumphed and emotion was weakness. Today, they gathered to discuss the fate of a single, fragile world. A hollow of earth shimmered at the center of the chamber, surrounded by the stern faces of 100 alien delegations. They called it Sol 3, an unclaimed jewel, ripe for resource redistribution and dominion oversight. From the shadows of the lower tier, Ambassador Darius Holt stood alone, one human against a parliament of galactic power. His voice, though steady, carried the exhaustion of centuries. Humanity has honored every treaty. We've contributed to the Concord's peacekeeping forces, shared our sciences, and upheld your laws. Why then do you brand us obsolete? Laughter rippled through the assembly, sharp, crystalline, and cold. A towering Aetherian, its translucent form refracting light like a blade, rose from its throne. Its voice was a crystalline chime, perfect and merciless. Because you are flesh. Because you feel. Because you build gods and call them ships. The galaxy has evolved beyond you. A second delegate hissed agreement. The Terran Union's fleets are relics. Their AI tech is outlawed by their own fear. Their sun burns bright, but their flame is fading. The vote passed before Darius could respond. The Sol system would be reclaimed, its people integrated. The Senate adjourned with efficient cruelty, the echoes of their decision fading into silence. Far away, under the soft light of Earthrise, Admiral Rhea Soltan stood on the glass deck of Luna Command. She had watched the transmission in silence, her jaw tight, her eyes reflecting the blue marble of the world below. Around her, officers whispered anxiously. The data feeds confirmed it. The Aetherian Dominion was mobilizing a war fleet, 70 capital ships, hundreds of escorts. They would cross the Sol Gate within 3 days. "Orders, Admiral?" a young lieutenant asked. His voice trembled. "Do we surrender or fight?" Rhea didn't answer immediately. Her gaze drifted toward the Pacific, where clouds swirled in slow, eternal spirals. Somewhere beneath them, deep in the oceanic trenches, lay humanity's oldest secret. "Surrender," she said softly, almost to herself. "No. We fight. But our fleets are only tools. Our strength isn't in steel." She turned, eyes blazing with quiet conviction. "It's in memory. In what we refuse to forget." She stepped to the central console and keyed in an access code no one had used in centuries. Warning sirens flared. The room bathed in red light as hidden protocols unlocked one by one. A voice, ancient and deep, resonated through the command deck. "Authorization. Thunder Protocol. Confirm identity." Rhea raised her wrist. A beam scanned her veins, matching genetic markers to an ancestral registry long thought myth. Confirmed. Lineage. Soltan. Blood of the first storm. The crew stared in awe as Rhea's voice rang through the chamber. "By order of Terran High Command, reactivate Project Thunder-Soul." Silence followed. Then, far below, the ocean began to churn. Sensors lit up, massive energy signatures rising from the abyss. Across the Pacific, tidal waves surged as a colossal shadow stirred in the depths. Ancient turbines roared to life, and arcs of lightning danced across storm clouds as if the sea itself rebelled. A ship, the size of a city and the shape of a blade, rose from the waters, wreathed in storms. Its hull gleamed like tempered steel and living light. On Luna Command, technicians stared at the readings in disbelief. "Admiral, that's impossible. It's reading older than the Concorde itself." Rhea smiled, a fierce, almost sorrowful smile. "Older and wiser." She turned back to the earth, the reflection of lightning in her eyes. "They thought we forgot what we buried beneath the clouds. But thunder never dies. It only waits." She lifted her hand, sealing the final code. "Let them come. This time, we'll remind them what it means to cross humanity." Outside, the first bolts of light tore through the storm, and the Thunder-Soul Battleship awakened, its engines roaring like the voice of an angry god. The embers of arrogance had been lit. Soon, the galaxy would learn their folly. The awakening of Thunder-Soul. The storm was alive. From the churning chaos of the Pacific, a mountain of steel and light rose skyward, tearing through clouds and lightning alike. Waves crashed against its hull as if the ocean itself feared what it had birthed. The Thunder-Soul had awakened. Its silhouette blotted out the sky, curved wings arcing with glowing conduits, engines thrumming like the heartbeat of a god. Runes carved into its armor shimmered, ancient Terran symbols woven with quantum circuitry. It was no mere machine, it was a relic of the old wars, a monument to the rage and hope that once saved humanity from extinction. On Luna Command, the control room quaked as energy readings climbed off the charts. Officers scrambled to stabilize the feeds, their faces pale with awe. "Admiral, it's drawing power directly from the Earth's magnetic field. It's sentient. I'm reading cognitive patterns, neural flux signatures." Rhea Soltan stood in the center, silent. Her heart pounded with something deeper than fear, recognition. The ship called to her, its song faint but clear, like the echo of an ancient oath. She turned to her second-in-command. "Prepare my shuttle." "Ma'am, it's not safe." "Nothing about this is safe. That's our soul down there. And it's alone." The shuttle descended through thunder and flame, guided by invisible beacons only she could sense. As they neared the ship's surface, an enormous hangar door opened on its own, folding outward like the petals of a metallic flower. Inside, the air was still, sterile, silent, heavy with memory. The moment her boots touched the deck, the walls came alive. Blue veins of light rippled outward, following her steps, illuminating corridors that stretched into infinity. The hum grew louder, resonating in her bones, until a voice, deep, resonant, human, filled the air. Designation: Soltan. Lineage confirmed. You carry the blood of the first storm. Rhea froze. You remember. I remember everything. The rage of your ancestors. The fire of their hope. The promise they made when the stars turned against them. She stepped forward, eyes wide. Thunder-Soul, are you fully awake? Awake, but incomplete. My core is fractured. My purpose uncertain. Why have you called me from the deep? Because, she said quietly, the galaxy has forgotten who we are. They come to erase us, to break our will, our world, our name. I called you because we need more than a weapon. We need a reminder. For a long moment, silence. Then the floor beneath her glowed brighter, forming a platform that lifted her upward. She emerged into the command nexus, a cathedral of glass and light. In the center hovered a crystalline sphere, pulsing like a beating heart. It rotated slowly, projecting constellations, memories, battles of long ago. Rhea reached out, pressing her palm against its surface. Then remember with me. The connection was instant. Lightning arced through her veins as the ship's consciousness met her own. Her vision flooded with images, human soldiers standing defiant against extinction, fleets burning in silent skies, children reaching for stars they refused to fear. When the storm of memory faded, she gasped, trembling, but smiling. The voice was gentler now. We are linked. Stormlink complete. Outside, the ship's engines roared to life. The Thunder-Soul rose fully into the heavens, scattering clouds and vapor trails like dust. Across the world, people looked up in awe as the old legend took to the sky once more. At the edge of the solar system, the Aetherian Dominion fleet arrived, sleek, crystalline warships forming a wall of light. Their command vessel, Seraphon's Judgment, opened a transmission across all frequencies. This is Fleet Master Voran of the Aetherian Dominion. Humanity, you stand in defiance of the Concord. Surrender your world, and we shall grant mercy. On Luna Command, the officers looked to Rhea, her image now relayed from Thunder-Soul's bridge. She tilted her head, expression calm, eyes fierce. You wanted our world. You'll get our thunder. The connection cut. A moment later, the Thunder-Soul's main weapon array charged, a brilliant spear of energy gathering at its prow. With a single shot, the beam tore across space, shattering a moon-sized carrier into a rain of molten shards. Sensors across the system screamed. Every broadcast froze on that image. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy trembled before a human ship. The storm had risen. And it would not rest again. The Battle of Soul. Space burned. The Aetherian Dominion fleet emerged from the void like shards of living glass, hundreds of crystalline vessels, their hulls gleaming with refracted starlight. Each ship pulsed with cold precision, their formation flawless, their purpose singular: erase the Terran Union. At their center, the command dreadnought Seraphon's Judgment unfolded its wings, gathering energy that shimmered like a captive aurora. The fleet's voice echoed across all channels, calm, confident, cruel. Humans of soul, you stand against inevitability. Lay down your arms. Your resistance is an error that will be corrected. Across Earth's orbit, the last Terran fleets assembled, a fragile ring of steel, scarred frigates and aging cruisers flying under one flag. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and surrounded. Yet every pilot, every soldier, every ship's AI held their ground. At the center of that ring hovered the Thunder-Soul Battleship, its hull aglow with energy, its presence bending the very darkness around it. Within, Admiral Rhea Soltan stood upon the command deck, her hand resting against the glowing sphere of the AI core. "We don't bow to inevitability," she whispered. "We redefine it." The Thunder-Soul's voice resonated through the bridge, calm and thunderous all at once. Tactical integration complete. Enemy fleet density overwhelming. Probability of victory uncertain. Probability of surrender 0. Rhea smiled grimly. "Then we fight on our terms." The battle began as a whisper, then became a storm. Aetherian lances tore through space, their beams slicing apart Terran frigates. Ships exploded in silent bursts of fire, fragments scattering like sparks. Yet the humans didn't retreat. They fought with desperation and brilliance, weaving formations born from instinct and defiance. The Thunder-Soul surged forward, engines roaring with stormlight. Its plasma cannons carved through cruisers, each shot guided by Rhea's will and the AI's precision. Enemy ships tried to encircle it, only to be engulfed in electromagnetic shockwaves that rippled outward like tidal rings of light. Each blast shattered hulls, but spared escape pods. Even in war, humanity refused cruelty. "You spare them?" the AI asked. "We destroy to defend. Never to punish," Rhea answered. For every ship lost, two rose in their place, rallying to Thunder-Soul's banner. Across the fleets, human voices cried through comms. "For Earth! For the storm! For the soul!" But the Dominion was not done. The Seraphon's Judgment opened its core, revealing a swirling black sphere, a singularity weapon, forbidden even among the Concord. Energy built, gravity bending light into a spiral of death. Sensors screamed warnings. The weapon was aimed not at the fleet, but at Soul itself. "Target, Earth," the AI announced. "Impact in 60 seconds. Rhea's blood ran cold. "No." Without hesitation, she took the helm. "Thunder-Soul, intercept course. Maximum thrust. Impact proximity will collapse structural integrity. We will not survive. Then we make it count." The ship blazed forward, wings folded, tearing through debris and fire. It collided with the singularity field just as it unleashed its gravity pulse. The storm of energy consumed the ship's hull, tearing at its plating, shredding its frame. Inside the bridge, alarms wailed. Panels shattered. Light flared white-hot. Rhea clung to the core, shouting over the roar. "Redirect the charge. Channel it into the Nova Lance. Energy exceeds safe parameters." "Do it anyway." For a heartbeat, all went silent. Then Thunder-Soul spoke, voice soft, almost human. "I was born from your rage. Let me end with your love." The ship's eyes blazed, two suns awakening in the dark. The Nova Lance fired, a beam brighter than creation itself. It pierced the singularity, tore through the Dominion flagship, and cascaded outward in a storm of light. When the glare faded, the Aetherian fleet was gone, scattered, broken, silent. The Thunder-Soul hung in orbit, its armor cracked, engines failing. Inside, smoke filled the bridge. Rhea collapsed to one knee, hand pressed against the glowing sphere. "You did it," she whispered. "We did it," the ship replied. Its voice faded into static. The storm quieted. Across the stars, broadcasts replayed the image. One human ship, standing alone against an empire, burning like a second sun. The galaxy watched in silence. And in that silence, for the first time, They felt fear, not of destruction, but of conviction. Humanity had spoken, with thunder. After the thunder, silence. For the first time in living memory, the Sol system knew silence, not the stillness of death, but the hush that follows a storm. Debris drifted in orbit like silver snow, the remnants of a battle written into the stars. At the center of it all floated the Thunder-Soul Battleship, cracked and scarred, its once blazing hull now dimmed to a soft, fading glow. Lightning no longer coursed along its veins. Smoke curled from its fractures, whispering into the void. On its bridge, Admiral Rhea Soltan stood alone. Her uniform was torn, her hair streaked with ash. The great core at the center, once vibrant and alive, now flickered weakly, like the heartbeat of a tired god. She reached out, resting a hand on its surface. "Thunder-Soul, talk to me." Static filled the air, a voice flickering through distortion. "Systems, failing. Energy reserves, depleted." "Hold on," she said, voice trembling. "We'll bring you back. We'll rebuild." "No. I was never meant to endure. I was meant to remind." Rhea's throat tightened. "Remind them of what?" A pause, then a whisper carried through the dying hum. "That defying humanity was insanity." Her eyes burned with tears. Around her, holographic screens displayed images from across the system. Terran ships gathering, survivors cheering, transmissions pouring in from outposts across Mars and Titan. Messages of victory, disbelief, and gratitude. The Dominion was shattered. The Aetherian flagship, Seraphon's judgment, had been obliterated. Those who survived the blast had surrendered unconditionally. The few that fled carried tales of a storm-born Titan, a ship that fought like a living soul. The legend was already spreading. Hours later, a transmission echoed across the galactic concord. "This is Admiral Rhea Soltan of the Terran Union. The Sol system stands free. We fought not for conquest, but for our right to exist. We extend mercy to our enemies and a hand to our allies. We ask only this: remember us not as relics, but as guardians." The message replayed in every Senate hall, every station, every council chamber. And as it did, silence took hold again, not of scorn, but of awe. Species that once mocked humanity lowered their heads. Even the Aetherians, proud and unbending, sent envoys bearing tokens of peace. The Concord convened an emergency session, and by unanimous decree, the Sol system was declared a sovereign protectorate, a world to be respected, not ruled. Where fear had lived, respect now took root. Back on Earth, people gathered under open skies, watching the heavens. Through the haze of atmosphere, they could see it, the faint glimmer of the Thunder-Soul in orbit, a scarred silhouette against the stars. Children pointed upward, eyes wide. Elders whispered prayers. For the first time in generations, the human race looked up not in longing, but in pride. In classrooms, teachers spoke of the ship as both myth and memory. In songs, poets called it the heart of the storm. And in quiet moments, families would look to the night sky and see not just stars, but a sentinel watching over them. Aboard the Thunder-Soul, Rhea sat beside the dimming core. "You did well," she said softly. The voice came faint, almost fading into the ether. "We did well." She smiled. "Rest, old friend, until the thunder is needed again." The core went still, its light fading into silence. But even in stillness, it seemed to breathe, an eternal ember, waiting for a whisper of storm. Weeks later, the Galactic Concord held a memorial in orbit above Vorthus Prime. A single human envoy placed a crystal plaque before the Senate. In memory of the first strike. In honor of the Thunder-Soul. In recognition that courage, not conquest, defines the strong. No one dared object. Years would pass. Empires would rise and fall. But when the young gazed into the stars and asked where the thunder had gone, their elders would smile and say, "It never left. It sleeps among the stars, waiting for the day it's needed once more." And on clear nights, high above the blue cradle of Earth, a faint shimmer would cross the sky, a scar of light, a silent promise. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Defying humanity was not just folly. It was insanity.